Kakadosh Boker Tov. We're going to continue with the halachot of Netilat Yadayim. We are on Siman Kuf Nun Tet. We're on Sif Tet or Sif Yod, where Maran is talking about an interesting case about doing Netilat Yadayim with a barrel. So if you take a barrel and then at the bottom of the barrel you put a spout. So by putting a spout on the bottom of the barrel, you want to do Netilat Yadayim and you do not have a utensil. You do not have a keli. So the way to do it is that you're going to open up the spout and put your hand underneath because you need Kohar Gavra, but you can't leave the spout open, because if that spout is going to be open, so then what happens is all the rest of the running water does not come from the original strength, right, of the person that's doing it. He just opened up and then the rest is just coming on its own, and therefore it's not going to be considered good. What he would have to do is he would have to open it and close on each one of his hands in order to do the Netilat Yadayim. What about then, right, well, this is what we mentioned yesterday to do with the brazim, the faucets of nowadays. So to do with the faucets of nowadays, it's actually brought down that the faucets which go through the walls, right, and it goes through a big boiler. So he says, some people say, right, that you are not allowed to do Netilat Yadayim through them, and some people say that you can. Says the Halacha Brura, B'shat Adachak, in extenuating circumstances that you do not have a kli whatsoever, you could be mekel, right? And even in this case, again, you have to do the same thing. You would have to open and close and open and close. However, though, this halacha, which is again a machloket, whether you could do this or not, only applies where the water is going to a boiler, which means that the water is coming from the walls, from the pipes which are in the walls or in the ground, and it's going to a boiler. If it's going to be that it's not going through that, and it's only in the pipes of the house, so then you cannot do so whatsoever. That's the psak of the Halacha Brura as well, as other Acharonim as well, which means that nowadays it actually is very, very important. Why? Because sometimes it happens that, for example, the hot water, sometimes it doesn't go through a boiler. Sometimes it's going directly through the pipes and going through, let's say, a small little tiny, it's basically without a boiler, it's basically the fire, right, which they have, it's basically going to be a little tiny box, which basically the water goes through it, and there's a pilot light, and the second that you need hot water, it makes a fire and it heats up the water when it's coming into the house, but it's tankless, without a tank. There's no boiler there, right? It just heats up the water like that. That will be very problematic. Why? Because the water is not going to be in any type of a utensil. Another problem would be cold water. Cold water does not go through any tank. It's going straight through, right, the valves or the different pipes in the house. So therefore, in all these cases where it's not going to go in a keli, it's not going to go in a tank, it will be very problematic to do Netilat Yadayim in such a case. The same halacha would apply if you're going to be in a park and you don't know right now they're going to turn on the cold water and you want to do the Netilat Yadayim in this way because you don't have a keli, again you have a problem. Why do you have a problem? Because if it's only going through the pipes of the building, you do not have this halacha, this leniency of that it's going into a utensil, into this big boiler, and then you'll be able to use it. So therefore it's very, very important to know this halachot, to do with Netilat Yadayim, because again this has to do with, you need koach gavra, you need that it has to be coming from the force, from the strength of a human being, and you're lacking that if it's not going to be in such a fashion, and it's only going that you're just opening and closing, but it still has to be in a keli, and here you don't have a keli if it's going through the pipes of the house.